Welcome to Lesson 8, the Spot On Game app. This is our first app that was designed specifically for tablet devices. Android 3.0 was the first version of the Android operating system that could run on tablets, or that was specifically designed for tablets. And in this app, we're actually going to be targeting Android 3.1 or higher because of a specific class that was added in Android 3.1 that simplifies animations even further than the capabilities that were added in Android 3.0. Now, in this app, what we do is we display a bunch of spots on the screen. Each spot comes onto the screen in a random location and is going to move to a random other location. The farther away those locations are, the faster the spot appears to move. And also, as the spot moves, it shrinks in size, making it harder for the user to touch it. Now, the user's goal is to touch as many spots as possible throughout the game. Every time the user touches a spot, that increases the user's score. Every time the user touches the screen but misses a spot, that decreases the user's score. If the user touches 10 spots, the user gets, I should say, a new life. And if a spot makes it off the screen without being touched, then the user loses a life. And the user begins with the life that the game starts with plus 3 additional lives and can get up to a maximum of 7 lives throughout the game the way it's currently coded. Now, the key feature that we're introducing in this app is called property animation. Now, in earlier versions of Android, the only animations that we could perform on-screen items were so-called view animations, and they were very limited in capability. With property animations, we can animate any property of any object. It doesn't even have to be an object that's on the screen. So that makes the animation mechanism that was introduced in Android 3 much more flexible than the earlier animation capabilities. Now, in Android 3.1, as part of property animation, they introduced a new class called a View Property Animator. And the thing that's nice about it is it allows you to group several different animations on a given object and execute them all in parallel. And in this app, each spot on the screen is not only going to be moving, which is one animation, it's also going to be shrinking, which is a second animation. So we'll use a View Property Animator to perform the animations on each of the spots. Now, another part of this app is to process click events on image views and on the screen itself, which is what happens when you touch items on the screen. And in particular, because each image view can have a touch event handler associated with it, when the user touches any spot, that particular spot knows it's been touched, and we can then process the increment to the score accordingly and remove that spot from the screen, and also place a new spot onto the screen as well. And another key thing that we'll be looking at in this example is a concept called an animation listener. So animations themselves have events associated with them. And for example, we're going to want to know when an animation finishes, because if a spot gets to the end of its animation without the user touching it, the user is going to lose a life in this app. So we need to know when that occurs, and we'll use an animation listener to test for that event. And finally, one other key thing we'll be using in this app is the concept of thread-safe collections.